During a hearing this past week in the United States Senate, Republican Senator John Kennedy from the state of Louisiana went on an absolutely disgusting and pretty racist rant against not just Mexico, but obviously the citizens of Mexico as well, implying that if it were not for the United States, they would somehow resort to being savages. They would lose all of their social skills, according to what John Kennedy says, and they would be forced to eat cat food behind an Outback steakhouse. I'm actually not even using hyperbole. That is literally exactly what he said. Take a look. Here is the clip. Again, Republican Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana expressing how he truly feels about Mexico and, of course, Mexicans. Here he is.
Our economy is $23 trillion. Mexico's economy is $1.3 trillion. Ours is 18 times bigger. We buy $400 billion every year from Mexico. Without the people of America, Mexico, figuratively speaking, would be eating cat food out of a can and living in a tent behind an Outback. So why don't you and the president, embarrassing no one, get on the phone and call President Lopez Obrador and make him a deal he can't refuse to allow our military and our law enforcement officials to go into Mexico and work with his to stop the cartels? Why don't
So I guess Mexico, if you don't want to be eating cat food out of a can from the back of an Outback steakhouse, you've got to let the U.S. military come in and basically take over your country so that we can go kill some drug dealers, I guess, right? That's what John Kennedy wants, because you don't want to be eating cat food, right? By the way, Senator Kennedy here, which, by the way, you're a disgrace to the title of being Senator Kennedy, by the way. You realize that what you want to do, send the United States military into Mexico, would, of course, require the approval of the president of Mexico. You admitted that much in that clip we just saw. So why are you denigrating them and basically dehumanizing them to where you're just like, they're total savages? If it wasn't for the United States, they wouldn't exist. They'd be eating cat food. Do you realize how disgusting that is? You realize how racist that is, right? So if you want that country to be open to the idea of the United States military barging in and starting to kill their citizens, I would at least assume that maybe you'd tone down the racist rhetoric. Maybe you'd stop attacking their country and try to butter them up a little bit, right? The whole you get more flies with honey than with vinegar type thing. But you're trying to attract more flies with excrement, I guess, which, hey, maybe it'll work, maybe not. But I also have to ask you this. Clearly, you're not aware of the role that the United States has obviously played for many, many decades in the formation, I guess you would call it, of the cartels. Clearly, you're not familiar with the fact that the United States military did attempt to go down to Colombia to stop their drug war, and we didn't win that one. But you're also apparently unfamiliar with the U.S. intervention foreign policies of the last 75 years. Like, I can forgive you for not understanding that the United States played a role in the creation of the cartels, and you're not aware of the other countries the U.S. has effectively sent the military in to stop them and failed miserably. But even beyond that, like, where else have we sent the U.S. military in the last 75 years where everybody after we left was like, whew, I'm glad they were here, right? I'm not trashing the troops at all. It's not the troops' fault. But it is the policy of the United States military, this interventionist policy, that has failed spectacularly, again, pretty much after World War II and up to this day. Like, we suck at this, not because the troops are bad, not because we don't have the best weapons, but because our policy and our strategies are pure trash. And I have no reason to believe that doing that down there in Mexico wouldn't end up any differently. And by the way, you know what happens? You kill those Mexican drug cartels, they just move to a different country. So then what are you going to do? You just send the United States military to that country? They'll move again. So then suddenly we've just got to occupy the entire planet, John Kennedy. That's what you want. Don't deny it. That is what you want. That is what Republicans want. Y'all don't want to be the ones to have to go out there and fight it. No. You'll leave that to the people much braver and stronger than you. But you're more than happy to sit up there in your comfortable little chairs in Washington, D.C. and force our men and women in the armed forces to go out there and try to just kill everybody they can. If they get killed in the process, oh well, we'll just recruit a couple more to take their places, right? That's always been your policy. For the last 75 years at least, that has been your policy. You don't care what happens to these young men and women. You don't care what happens to the countries that we invade. All that matters is that you paint them as savages, which is exactly what they did before the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War. You painted them all as savages, which is what John Kennedy's doing now. And then the rest of the dominoes just fell right in place. Once you dehumanize people, it's much easier to justify blindly killing them with the United States military. Hey everyone, this is Aspen. And did you know that for the low cost of $0 per day, you can subscribe to the Fair and Balanced YouTube channel? We also encourage you to like, comment, and share, but again, click that subscribe button and help Aspen not be so grumpy.